Alright, howdy y'all. Shesh dog on the way out here on the Spiritual Ranch. Give you all a lesson on how to take care of an animal once you've dispatched of it that you want to put in your freezer. The tools you're going to need: good sharp knife, a large steel, sharpening steel, good clean bowl, bucket of clean water, and a couple of towels for your hands, you know. You want to make sure you know how to sharpen your knife if you're going to take this on. So with all animals, especially in a situation where you have the advantage of hanging them, you'll start back here on your hocks. You want to go around. You want to go around the ankle like this. If you're going to hang the animal from the feet, you want to make sure you don't go through your Achilles tendon right here. And then, because that's what you're going to put your hooks in to hang them. And then you run down the inside. So go all the way around your hock. Then run your knife down the inside of the leg. Right down the inside there too. The inside of the hem. All the way up to the groin. As you can see. Now with the sheep, the main thing you're trying to watch out with a sheep is you want to keep as much of that fur off of this animal as you can. Because that fur give you an awful taste of your meat if you don't. Generally, in the past, what I like to do with sheep is if I have a big shears, I like to shear them before I get to working on them, because that way you just get rid of all that. That makes it a lot easier, you know, a lot cleaner. But that's at my mom's place. She's the one with the big shear, because she had some sheep for a while. And so I don't have one out here on the Spiritual Ranch. As you can see, especially in here, you can see all that dark coloring on him right there, and that on that skin. You kind of want to keep that stuff off of your meat too, as much as possible. You're trying to peel this thing back and get that hide off of him. Especially these pieces here that are like that, they're a little dirty. Take them, just go like that. Toss that to the dog. Now you're also going to clean up, you know, you want to leave a lot of that fat there with the sheep. When you cook them, you don't leave a whole lot of that fat on there. It could be strong tasting with an older animal. And so you will clean this up after you let it hang, because you're going to let it hang. The longer the better with the sheep. You know, I'll let this guy hang if I can for up to 14 days. You can eat them fresh, but they just get more tender and they get more flavor to them if you let them hang. The meat gets real dark, it gets like iridescence to it when it has a good cure, you know. Another thing too is when you're working on with an animal and you're working with your knife, you want your knife to stay sharp, you know, and so you kind of want to keep yourself out of the bone and out of that stuff with your blade as much as possible. The bone will really dull you up, you know. You'd be surprised how much just the hide will dull it, really, just the wool, you know. Yeah, see all this stuff right here, you gotta get this out of the pissy. He gets his piss on there, you know. Makes them crystals there in his crotch area, and that gives you bad flavor. You get that on your meat. So I'll just take that all, throw it to the dog. Fair warning, if your dog sleeps in the house and they ain't been getting a whole lot of fresh meat, make sure they sleep outside. You give them a bunch of fresh meat, because they're gonna get the gas like you ain't never, like you can't imagine. they get gas awful from that fresh meat when they ain't had it in a while. And then you just run that knife. Same deal. You go right up the tummy. Working it back as it go. This is far from ideal. This is more like a field dress if you're out in the fucking woods hunting, you know? Because, I still ain't got all my stuff moved in yet. I got a space and everything out here in the shop that's gonna work real nice for all this kind of work, but I just ain't there yet. I've been trying to deal with other shit. I don't know though. My spirits always get pleased whenever there's some bloodshed, so maybe things will start to get, maybe things will start to move a little better, you know? That'd be cool. You see this meat here on the outside, on the hide here? Oh, my grandpa used to get lit up if you'd leave that stuff on an animal you were cleaning. Oh man, he'd get so mad. Because he lived through the Great Depression, you know? And that's what he would say. He'd tell me and my brothers, he'd say, you boys ain't never been through a Great Depression if you're gonna throw away meat like that, you know? I was always like, well, Grandpa, dogs eat it. And Grandpa would say, fuck them dogs, you know? He said, you don't know what it is to be hungry. Grandpa's probably right. You know, he told me that the forest was silent during the Great Depression. After about 6 months of that shit, he said that people were hungry, you know, and they went out and they killed everything in the forest. I believe him. Yeah, I've done this stuff out in the mountains out there in Oregon. Way out in the mountains, you know. Miles and miles and miles and miles away from nothing. Working on some elk and stuff with my brothers a couple times, you know. We used to do that up in Oregon all the time, you know. We feed ourselves, that's how we'd eat, you know. Oh, my grandpa, he'd put 5 or 6 of the things in the freezer every year, you know. Feed the whole damn family. Elk. That's some good meat right there, you know. Best tacos you ever had was them elk tacos. That's what I think. I mean, I guess not the best. My preference, I guess, if I were to be making tacos, would be a good little yearling buck, you know. Real tender little buck. They make really good taco. Or fawn. It don't gotta be a buck, but or a doe, you know, just a young one. Get yourself one that's like a year or two old, real nice and tender, not gamey. Yummy. The elk is a little bit stronger flavor, a little bit stringier, it's a little bit different meat. You know, some people try to say it's more beef-like, but I would disagree with that. It's a lot drier than beef. I would say it's drier than venison as well. It's its own animal. Again, it varies too. A young elk is really yummy. Them older big bucks bulls though, they get a strong flavor on them, especially when they're in the rut. And that's the benefit with this guy here. See, he's a wether. If he was a ram with intact ram, if he had his testicles on him, you know, he would be really rough to flavor. You know, he wouldn't be very tasty. Not for the American palate, at least. That's that Achilles tendon I was talking about. Normally you wouldn't cut that, but I don't really care because I gotta carry him out to the shop, so I'm gonna cut him into smaller pieces, just hanging with some string, you know. Normally though, you'd run your swing tree, your single tree in there, and put the two hooks. Yeah, single tree's got a hook on either side. Yeah, what I'll do with this hide here is I'll chunk it up pieces, you know, freeze it, and then I'll feed it to my dog. The hair is really good for them. It's a natural dewormer. It cleanses out their intestinal tract. You know, they're used to eating a lot of hair in the wild, a lot of bone, a lot of hair. It's healthy for their digestive tract. You know, and when it pushes through there, or all the hair pushes through their digestive tract, it also removes any parasites. So it'll remove parasites, parasite eggs, and all that. You know, and so it can really help a lot with a raw feeding program. I feed him raw. You know, I always feed my dogs raw. They don't get kibble ever. And the hides are a real one. I used to raise rabbits, you know, and that's what I fed my dogs. A little bit of pine needles and dirt stuff is okay on your carcass usually, because like I said, you can cut it off there. You just trying your damnedest. Get out of here. Go lay down. You're trying your damnedest to keep the just keep the hair off of it, you know. This guy, he's not shedding too bad right now, which is good. He actually, he's gonna be really tasty. He smells really good. Sometimes the animal this age, they could be real strong. They get their hormones in them or whatever, but like I said, he's been castrated, so he don't have no hormones. Kind of like, I guess, a lot of these motherfuckers out here today, huh? I didn't say that. So now, as you see, I got that one side worked back, right? Now we want to make sure you don't roll down the damn hill. That'd be the last thing that we want. What I'll do is I'll pull him up here a little bit. We'll get that skin back out underneath him, right? Roll him over on his side like that. Just like that. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Good. Doesn't hurt to spill a little blood in your garden, you know. Life for life. That's how a lot of this shit works, you know. And so this guy here, he's been eating good out here. He's been free to roam. He hasn't been caged. He's been able to go get whatever he wants to eat, you know, and live pretty freely. But he ain't gonna eat my garden. And so, like all animals, as soon as I start working on my garden, that's the first place he's got to go. And so, he's got to go. That's the way it works. I'm out of meat too, so at the time I don't want some meat. I've been eating a lot of beans, you know, a lot of lentils, a lot of rice. Hot dogs, you know. Who wants to eat hot dogs when you actually got a rack of fucking ram like out there and you're trying to eat your garden, right? Best lentils you ever made though is lamb and lentils, man. It's yummy. Really, it's like those two, I don't know, man, made for each other. For whatever reason, they go hand in hand. And so, obviously, this is a lot easier with two hands. You're gonna notice that with me, I have to do a lot of stuff on my own, you know, and you likely could too, because you know, we're the chosen, and we spend a lot of time by ourselves. So, but it's definitely a lot easier. You got second hand, you know, somebody to help, because they can help, like with holding the leg just in the right angle, because it's easier to cut, easier to get your hide off there at certain angles than it is from others, you know. And so you gotta do some monkeying around, kind of when you're on your own, to keep it all going good, you know. But that's okay. That's why God made us the chosen ones, and we're powerful, you know. We can get it done no matter what. Yeah, this hide right here, though, it'll feed little guy here for a good period, you know. He'll probably eat on this thing a couple weeks. I'll just put it in the freezer. I'll just take little pieces out, you know, feed him. It's amazing what a dog could eat and make good use out of, honestly. They could eat more items than a pig, and that's the truth. You know, I used to raise pigs, and the pigs that the stuff the pigs wouldn't eat, the dogs would. All right, so now we got it down to here. We start on the this is up here a little bit more. Need me a block of firewood. You start right here, down in the right in the crotch of the legs. You want to open this up. You'll get down to the hip bone. You start to get into all this here. You want to be careful that you don't want to puncture any of your internals. So you got your lower intestine here that we're going to encounter, and then the stomach. You know, they got this, they're ruminated, so they got 4 stomachs. You know. So there's a lot of stomach in there. You gotta be careful, real careful, when you start opening up that cavity, because otherwise you gotta deal with poop, you know, and that's not fun. it gets messy quick, you know, and that could ruin a carcass. That's kind of where the trick's at, you know. So you want to get your hole going here, and you just go with 2 fingers, and you want to make sure you got your blade so that your fingers underneath your blade as you approach the cavity. You got your finger on the tip of that blade, and then you can open up that cavity without getting into any of the internals, without puncturing an intestine or one of the stomach linings. Just run it all the way up, just like this. And there's a cartilage that you're going to hit right here on the sternum. On a younger animal, sometimes with the knife you can cut through that cartilage. This guy's a little older, I might have to go get my meat cleaver. Yeah, I think I will have to. But then what you got here, I'll be right back. So you got a garbage bag here too, because I'm gonna clean up these the internals. You could eat the stomach, you know. The stomach is a delicacy in a lot of cultures. It's a delicacy, you know. And the small intestine, you can see here is the small intestine. It's very nice, commonly used for sausage baking. Is the sheep intestine for sausages. You want to get through the sternum. That brings you up to the cavity where your heart is. You got your diaphragm right here. Got your heart and your lungs in here. That right there is a gallbladder for your liver. You want to remove that carefully, because it's another one. It's like the poop. It'll ruin stuff. Real bitter. There's your liver. Like I said, you want to remove that bile duct. Give yourself enough meat there that you don't puncture it. There's your liver. This is your spleen. This is your stomach. This is your leaf fat. All of it's good, all of it's edible. You just gotta know how to do it, what to do with it. You start off by separating them. As you can see here, trying not to get the manure everywhere. You're gonna wash it, so you can expect a little bit. But if you take it back, you can see it starts to get cleaner, a little bit more manageable back here at your small intestine. Out of here. That's how you do that. I'll take these in and I'm going to clean them up better. I'll clean these up. I'll just cut them in pieces and flush them out. You just flush them out with the water, with the hose, you know. These here are the lungs. The lungs, if you got a good grinder, you can grind them up. You can make sausage. They're edible. Everything in here is edible. I personally try to use as much of the edible as I possibly can. I believe that's respectful to the animal. It's respectful to Most High. It's respectful to ourselves, you know. And like that's where, like with the dog, if you got a dog, you could freeze all that too, you know, chop it up, freeze it. It's excellent dog food, man. Healthiest way to feed your dog there is. This right here, that's the heart. So that'll be dinner here tonight. And then what I'll do, once I get it like this, I'm just gonna take this guy right down here to where they meet on this first, this right up for the hips, you know. You go right down straight through, and you come to a vertebra right there, cut in between it, you know.